And welcome here to Watch Fox 57. We just want to bring you the very latest here on Hurricane Idalia. Still technically a hurricane right now, a Cat 1 with max winds around 75 miles an hour. I'm Chief Meteorologist Josh Knight.
And I'm Clara Faith.
Clara, this is your first tropical system here with us at Watch Fox. How you doing so far?
I have to say, it is definitely, it's a hurricane. It's a hurricane. Florida definitely got hit earlier today, so.
Yeah, and we're fortunate here that it weakens, of course, over land, weakening on the way here for us. But it was very powerful this morning, made landfall right at 7:45 in that Big Bend area. It was a Cat 4 overnight, technically at landfall. Idalia had come down to a Cat 3, but just barely, with winds at 125 miles an hour. Once you're at 130, then you're considered a Cat 4. So it really was right on the edge. Very powerful storm. And I think one of the big takeaways from this storm is the storm surge with this one, which not a problem for us. But right,
it was a problem for them, definitely.
Exactly.
I don't know if you guys have seen, we're on social media, so you probably have seen videos and pictures. That storm surge did devastation to some parts of people's homes in Florida.
Cedar Key, and then right in that area there were reports that they could have had as high as 16 feet of water. And what that means when we say storm surge, basically just the ocean water coming on shore. And when they say 16 feet, they mean above ground level. So then you have waves on top of that as well. So water easily into first floors of homes, and in some places over that first floor as well. So just a nasty storm. Let me get you over here to the graphics so you can see some of what we're talking about as far as our hurricane right now. Again, a Category 1 hurricane, max winds right there in the middle of 75 miles an hour, so that's down from the 125 at landfall, and our gusts are still up to around 115. One of the things that you'll notice with this storm is it is moving very quickly, now moving to the northeast at 20 miles per hour. That does us a couple favors. It is going to mean that the heavy rain doesn't really get a chance to hang around for all that long. If you've been around South Carolina for any length of time, you might remember Hurricane Florence, Hurricane Matthew. Some of the big problems with them is that they just stayed around for so long, and that meant that the rain got a chance to fall heavily for a few days, and that led to some catastrophic flooding. For this one, it's very heavy rain, but again, it's moving on pretty quickly. So we're still going to see some flooding problems, still likely to get some flash flood warnings, but at this point, again, that quick movement does us a little bit of a favor. Let me bring you here the latest. We'll zoom in a bit closer to what's going on with the storm. You can see that eye really widening up, but still pretty clear where the center of that storm is, and kind of lopsided. Doesn't look the way it did last night when it was in the Gulf. These rain bands continue to feed in from farther off to the east across the ocean, but right around this area, that's where we have our strongest winds associated with Idalia, and that's what moves in for us as we get into later on this evening. As far as the heaviest rain, for the most part south of Columbia, south of I-20, but you get these bands starting to lift in, and we have seen some of them with some spin, a little bit of rotation on these storms, and that's pretty typical for us with a tropical system, and something we'll have to watch out for as we work our way really through the evening. Rotating thunderstorms that could also and often produce tornadoes. Manning with some heavy rain right around I-95 right now, but I do want to dive down farther to the south. That is where we have one of those rotating storms, and you're looking here well into the low country, really just right on the edge there of Georgia, and that one is going to be one that we'll continue to keep a close eye on because that cell will likely still have a little bit of spin as it lifts up into our area. As far as watches and warnings, we don't have any severe watches or warnings, meaning thunderstorm or tornado. What we do have is a tropical storm warning. I'll show you that in a second, but the tornado watch in yellow is just off to our east with right now that one warning here closer to Somerville. And that one again will be a storm that we have to keep a close eye on as it moves to the northwest. In our area, we do still have part of that slight risk for severe weather in yellow, and that really is for the chance for tornado development. But you see that higher risk, the orange color, farther down to the southeast. For us closer to Columbia, we've dropped that down to marginal. Essentially, the farther away you get from the center of the storm, or from the east side of the storm, really, that tornado threat is going to drop some. So with that, bringing it down just a little bit more detail for you. Again, really focusing areas farther to the southeast. You can see just that tip of Orangeburg County covered into that red color. Highest chance clearly in the southeastern Midlands, most likely as we head into the evening hours and early overnight as the core of the storm moves past our area, and generally weaker tornadoes when we're talking about a tropical system. Now, that doesn't mean they can't do damage. Still, certainly strong enough to bring down trees, into houses, that sort of thing, but we're not talking about those high-end tornadoes, just really more so EF0, EF1 when we get them coming out of tropical systems. Here's the latest track on Hurricane Idalia, going to continue to move from Georgia right along the South Carolina coastline, and still as a Category 1 hurricane. This here is the update as of 2 o'clock. We'll get another one at 5, but still with max winds right around the center of 75 miles per hour. So it's going to create some storm surge here at the beaches, and for us, some strong winds as well, but moving quickly. So pushes out to sea pretty fast. By tomorrow morning, pretty much all of us are already done with the rainfall. Here's that tropical storm warning for a lot of our area, pretty much counties right along I-20 and then everywhere to the south and east. As we get into the low country, especially around Charleston, that does change over to a hurricane watch, and we'll have to see if that gets upgraded to a warning like it did around Savannah as well. So that is kind of the setup as far as the tropical watches and warnings go. And for us, when we have that tropical storm warning, that just means that they're expecting the possibility that winds could be up to about 40 miles an hour and greater. I do think we'll see some gusts 40 to 50 miles an hour in our area. Here's the rain we're expecting as we head into the evening. The heaviest is not quite here for us yet. Continues to wrap up and in as we head into the evening, but you'll notice not nearly as much showing up farther off to the northwest. Really going to get those bigger totals and the heavier rain south and east of Columbia. Here we are at 9:30. Now we're just down to some light rain back into Newberry, Saluda, and Aiken. Still heavy in Bishopville and towards Sumter. That continues to wrap up and move out as well. For a lot of us, by 1, 2 in the morning, most of the rain is over. So on to those wind gusts. As we go towards 6, 7 o'clock, I think that's when we start to get some of those stronger gusts, especially down south and east of Columbia. Again, you'll notice I keep saying that. It's really going to be these areas, Orangeburg, Calhoun County, over toward Clarendon, Sumter County, Lee County. These are the spots where we'll get those stronger winds and the heavier rain. Fast forward here to around 7:30. Again, wind gusts 40 to 50 miles an hour. Certainly not out of the question. Most of us around Columbia and Lexington, Newberry, Winsboro will see those peak gusts closer to 30 to 40 miles per hour. So really not strong enough to cause any major problems. The issue is going to be these stronger winds on top of some very heavy rain. So the soil is saturated, makes it a lot easier for trees to come down. So that's going to be the type of thing we're watching out for. Power outages are more or less expected for at least some of us. And again, that chance is going to be higher farther off to the east and southeast. Winds do wrap up pretty quickly. Still breezy tomorrow morning as we get into your Thursday, but the rain is pretty much gone, and so is some of the strongest wind. So how much rain? What's left to move in here for us? You'll really notice that bullseye again, that same idea, south and east of Columbia, with 6 to even 8, even 10 inches of rain possible in a few of these areas. I think that's even more likely up into the PD. 1 to 4 closer to Columbia, less than an inch back toward Newberry. Behind the system, just want to give you a little taste of fall here. Some exciting news if you're ready for some cooler weather and lower humidity. 65 your morning low on Friday, 62 on Saturday, waking up closer to 60 Sunday morning. So it really is going to cool off quite a bit. Here's your holiday weekend outlook. 85 on Friday, partly cloudy, more sunshine as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures all below normal there in the mid-80s. We'll start to heat back up for Labor Day. Beautiful weather, cooler than it has been, and again, a lot of sunshine. I'll get you back here to one of our graphics here with our tropical system. See the actual hurricane on there.
Hey Josh, you have a question?
Yes, please.
Basically, they just want to know, for the folks in Orangeburg, they always want to know, is these winds can be damaging to them since they're more closer?
Yes, absolutely. So that will kind of be the big thing, is the farther south and east you do live, that's where you'll get those stronger winds. And typically when we talk about a severe thunderstorm, we give those out when the winds are going to be closer to 60 miles an hour, technically 58 miles per hour. So you're looking at getting right around that threshold of 50 to 53, 54 miles an hour. The bigger issue, I think, is that because the ground is so wet, is going to be so saturated, the trees are just able to get uprooted much more easily. I don't think it's going to be a widespread problem, but it is definitely something that we'll have to watch out for. If you're in those areas, Orangeburg into Calhoun County, Clarendon County, Sumter, these are all places where you almost want to have in the back of your mind a plan if you need electricity, what you would do if the power goes out, because I think in those places it's a much more realistic concern.
So chances of power can happen.
Yes, exactly. So before the winds get too strong, good advice for everybody, charge up anything that you definitely need to have charged up. Make sure your phone's not like mine, sitting in the red right now. And if there is anything that you want to bring in from outside, the winds haven't gotten too strong just yet. Any planters that might fall off a little table or something
Even
like
like
that.
your pets, probably. This
Yeah,
is not good weather for your pets.
Yeah,
to be in.
certainly want to have them inside. And if you have any storm drains nearby, I wouldn't say run out and play in this weather right now, but if you have anything that's right maybe at the end of your driveway or something that you know is covered in leaves and clogged up, if you can just get some of that off of there, that can make a big difference as well. Just helping the water to drain out. Again, we only have that one tornado warning down closer to Somerville, but it is pretty moving quickly toward the northwest, so heading into eastern Orangeburg County. So we'll keep a close eye on that one. So far, anything that's had some spin in the low country hasn't quite made it together by the time it showed up in the WACH Fox viewing area. But if we do get any tornado warnings, we'll be on air with those to let you know.
Looks like a lot of it's kind of breaking down.
Yeah, so it is kind of tricky. When we get a tropical system, we end up with these bands of rain that set up, and it's in those bands that you get really heavy rain and your strongest winds. So in between them, it seems almost like, well, this isn't so bad, and then another wave will come through. So we really kind of have to, there's no all clear until the middle of the system really moves farther past our area. But there will be some breaks.
Yes. But we're going to continue this coverage online, and also in our 5 o'clock show, Josh is going to have more about this storm and what's happening. And I think just stay safe, you guys.
Yeah, I think that's it. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Just want to keep you guys ahead of what's going on. And I think the one thing that has changed the most with the forecast today is kind of upping that level of potential for tornado development. That is not to say everybody gets a tornado moving through their area by any means. Just yesterday I was thinking, yeah, we might see some, but now I think it's probably more likely that we'll get at least a couple tornado warnings. So make sure you have ways to get alerts as well, especially if the power goes out in your area. So thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. And hey, by tomorrow, things feel a lot better already. Just have to get through tonight.
And then Labor Day weekend.
That's right. And a long weekend.